going on, everyone? The Bad Habits here, aka TBH. Welcome to the shit show. I mean, Alien Resurrection. Duh. First of all, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate all the support. Next month, as of this recording, in September, Friday, September 13th, be on the lookout. And the last bit of promo I need to do, we're reviewing Alien Resurrection today to celebrate the new release, Alien Romulus. For those of you who don't know, TBH is a massive Alien fan, okay? The xenomorph itself, sure, but the film Alien, it's definitely on the Mount Rushmore, if you will, of horror movies for TBH, so let that be known. Alien Resurrection is the complete opposite of that film in possibly every way. Why do I like it?
Are you crazy? You still want to bring those things back to Earth?
Haven't you been paying any attention today?
The intellectual speaks.
Let's get into it. First of all, with this being the fourth film, that's 8. If you ask me, the fourth film is honestly way too soon to reach this level of parody and satire. Yeah, let's just clear the air really quickly. This film is when Alien truly sold the fuck out, okay? Yes, this is a paycheck movie, sure.
What the fuck? Was it everything you hoped for?
This would be like if Friday the 13th Part 4 was Jason X. Way too soon for that. In this film, Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver, aka Ellen Ripley, yeah, y'all, she does not give a fuck. She does not care, clearly. What a wonderful cast overall. We have so many memorable names. We have Ron Perlman, Winona Ryder, Brad Dourif, aka Charles Lee fucking Ray, Chucky in space. Why didn't we get that film? We got Leprechaun in space. How come we didn't get Chucky in space, man? We had Chucky versus Leprechaun film. Is that okay? That sizes for me to say? I don't know. Fucking Tuco Salamanca? Come on. Overall, it's a shame we had to drag this wonderful cast into this piece of shit. And let me get a pro out the way. Even though the CGI creatures leave a lot to be desired, sure, the practical ones actually done really dope. I like how they sort of have this evolution from the first movie. I mean, shit, honestly, the evolution of them between the first and second movie is the most drastic. But damn, y'all, the shit we get, especially in that third act, whew, we've come a long way. Maybe not for the better. These Xenos, they feel more alive, less, puppet on the string. Yes, I love the first two movies. Yes. And we'll talk about Alien 3 another day. I'm sorry, I kind of like how fluid they are, at least compared to the first two. I need to be careful when I say the first two, because then you're probably thinking I'm talking of Alien Covenant or Prometheus. Technically, those are prequels. I'm talking about Alien and Aliens, just for clarity. These motherfuckers can swim. No! I can't swim as a human in 4 foot of water. Currently learning as we speak. I can't handle these motherfuckers on land. And now we're gonna submerge them? Also, compared to Alien 3, which I hate to shit on, and I don't want to knock that movie down to praise this one up, but I like the set design more so here than the derelict prison / scrapyard warehouse from Alien 3. This one has a lot more life to it. It's just plain and simple. Also, the idea of merging the two species, human and xenomorph, is kind of cool. Once again, we shouldn't do this in the fourth film. That's like Alien 7 or something like that. But whatever. Which technically we're about to get. And if you haven't seen Alien 3, you're probably wondering how the fuck we even got here. This is so many decades or centuries in the future that the OG Ellen Ripley, she's been long gone. She sacrifices herself and, jumps into a fucking lava pit at the end of Alien 3. And in this film, they're able to recover some of her DNA, something out of like Jurassic Park, for example. They recover her DNA and they have made clones out of her. And not only were they able to clone Ripley, that's bad enough. They were able to replicate? They were able to replicate the queen she had within her. And yes, we'll get to the alien baby later. I'm trying to enjoy myself right now. Don't take that away from me just yet. Oh, the damn baby. I don't know how known this fact is, but originally this baby had both genitalias. So it had like a penis, vagina, and I don't want to see that in any movie ever. So glad they took that out, because what are we doing? So we start off on a ship in space. We're in a laboratory of sorts. Chucky is playing God of sorts. These poor people are used to hatch xenos that we can experiment on elsewhere. Anytime someone mocks the xenomorphs, best believe they're getting theirs in some way. Fucking Brad Dourif was doing the worst of it, and his ass paid in the end, didn't he? Talk that shit now. The Xenos in this film are very clearly learning and adapting. They are so smart in this film that they know what they can do with acid blood. At one point we get, I believe, 3 trapped within the same confinement. 2 of them kill one and use the blood to burrow out and escape. Like, oh shit. As a kid, when I saw this, I just used to see the reruns, of course, on TV. That used to creep the fuck out of me, because what are we gonna do? But let me upset that with a con. Remember in Alien 1 when a drop of the facehugger's blood almost breached the hull and went through several layers of the ship, and it was this whole big frantic and panic about it? In this one, an entire xenoph is dismembered to make a hole within the ground. And it's not a little bit, it's a big boy. So, we don't even discuss that at all. We're just like, it's fine. Winona Ryder shows up, and full spoilers, of course, she is revealed later on to be an android. In this one, she's much more human-like compared to Ash and even Bishop, who... Shout out to those 2 characters. I love those performances. But this version is actually a little more nuanced. Not as much as David in the prequels, which we'll cover someday. Constantly she is, berating Ripley, talking so much shit. Of course, at the time, it's before the big reveal. So, it's honestly her projecting her own feelings about herself onto Ripley and just finally being able to talk about it. I think it's sort of therapeutic for her in a way. And let me say, even though Winona Ryder's character has her own motives, very early on, she is the voice of reason. We can't trust her. Those are her babies. Yeah, I'm with her on this one, y'all. Like, we need to leave Ripley behind. Don't come between me and a goddamn xenomorph. If it's me or you, might as well be you. With that being said, action. Let's talk about the action for a quick second. At least the first action scene. The first gunfight on the ship leaves a lot to be desired. Honestly, people, this ends on some Looney Tune Yosemite Sam shit. Come on! But also, get your money, brother. I didn't catch the character's name, but the one in the wheelchair, homie's kind of dope. I'm gonna be real with you. He and Ron Perlman have this established dynamic where Ron Perlman's constantly fucking with him, Hell, I think he's introduced early on, and Ron Perlman's thrown a knife into his leg. So, that sets up something for later. I'll tell you now, actually. At one point, he's standing above a grate that's leaking xenomorph blood. And he doesn't notice, of course, unfortunately. It raises an interesting question. Like, maybe don't shoot him and stand under him? Whatever. Getting back to the main plot here. Once the Xenos make that hole that I mentioned earlier, and now they're running around the ship, the crew, they don't give a fuck about what's going on. They just want to get the fuck out of there, which I'm with them. I ain't wasting no time. Where's the lifeboat? At one point, just as one's getting ready to take off for good, a Xeno fucking climbs in it. I imagine it has its fucking feast. Editor, I'm calling you right there, motherfucker. And make me look fucking cool.
Nope.
This is the point where some of the plot really wants to kick in. We gotta kind of push things forward and speed up the clock a little bit. So now the autopilot is heading home, and apparently we're gonna land in about 3 hours. Where the fuck are we? The moon? That kind of just comes out of nowhere. It's like, it's just inconvenience for inconvenience sake. Not well written. One sequence of events that I could probably never forget from this entire series, which I probably can't show any of this on YouTube. Sorry. Maybe one day once we get enough of a following, we could do like a Patreon or some shit where we could just unleash and unload. But until then, we're only at about 400 subs, so we got a long way to go. The sequence I'm referring to is when this cloned Ripley, our version of Ripley, has discovered the failed clones. This is burned within my memories, and I used to watch the TV version. I had never seen the full sequence unedited until very recently, and it just brought back a lot of shit that just left it to the imagination 20 plus years ago. About halfway through, we are introduced to a new character. It's revealed that this man has a chest burster within him. So now we have another ticking time clock. As if one wasn't enough, now we got this one. If that was me, I'm just like, guys, let's just done deal. Yay. Instead, he gets to join the crew for a little while, and then, he does end up with a very memorable death. Possibly one of the most memorable from the film.
What the fuck, Richard?
He is even there for that underwater sequence that I mentioned earlier. Oh my goodness. No pun intended, but I was holding my breath during this sequence. It's so dope. We even see what happens when one explodes underwater. Acid blood underwater. Come on now, we're trying new shit here. That's gotta give some praise. This is fun. And also, can I just acknowledge something? The face hugger, the xenomorph, like these are some of the most iconic movie creatures of all time. In this one, we finally get a face hugger on Sigourney Weaver. It took 4 films, y'all. And people, let me tell you something about TVH. Ron Perlman, upside down on a ladder shooting guns. That's all I've ever needed in my life. For that, this movie could probably just pass off of that alone.
Ah!
As a kid, I've always been just hugely afraid of spiders, including the face hugger, which is sort of spider-like. Oh, yeah. So young TVH, he loved that scene. Now I'm a little bit different. I'm a little more hippy-dippy, and we try not to kill bugs. We try to release them if we can. Don't get me started. But let me come off my high a little bit, because we close off that sequence with a goddamn SNS. For those of you who have been here a while, you know I hate sacrificial Negro syndrome. That is the idea that, you know, the black people cannot survive through the entire film. Usually they stay behind so everyone else can go on and live their lives. It's a trope that's been long done for years. It's documented for decades. I don't need to get into it, but we don't need that here. At this point in the review, Winona Ryder has just been outed as an android. Tuco Salamanca gets a little bit of screen time. Actually, the character Tuco, he kind of shows up for a second. I don't remember the character's name in this movie, so I'm calling him Tuco. I didn't find the reveal of the character being an android, I didn't find that to be super amazing, though. You know, the movie kind of halts while the team's doing this infighting, and of course they're doing it right near the fucking nest. Speaking of which, gross. And it's just Ripley that gets dropped in because she has the plot armor. You know, she cannot be killed. They clearly love her. I laughed my ass off at the notion of a xenomorph running with Ripley in its arms. What is this? Goddamn Twilight 1? Cut to Ripley, who's now in the hive. Thankfully, we have Charles Lee Ray who can narrate what's going on here. He might regret that really soon. We get a really cool shot of the Queen. And the Queen gives birth to the goddamn Humalian hybrid. The worst part of this film, the part that really just drags it down into the mud. Fucking Humalian just kills the Queen immediately and then imprints on Ripley. And no, people, I don't understand the logic behind that. I'm not even gonna try. At this point, we might have been better than Alien 3. But with this, I don't know, people. This one really, it almost just sealed its fate. In classic Alien fashion, you know, we think we've escaped and the threat is over, only to find out that we now have a stowaway upon the ship. Winona Ryder decides to close a hatch by herself. Haven't we learned by now? I've seen way too many Friday the 13th films. This is a non-factor for me. Tuco goes out like a bitch because he freezes up trying to save a white lady or something. I guess I should call it sacrificial brown person syndrome. I might need to work on the term a little bit, but yeah. You know he wasn't gonna make it. They make his ass look dumb. And then Ripley, thank God we have clone Ripley to save the day. She outsmarts her baby, has a little cut on her hand and, you know, flicks it against the glass. I hated most of this entire thread, or almost the entire sequence, until the baby's brutal goddamn death. They couldn't show this on the TV cuts I used to watch, so a lot was left to the imagination. I will say, once again, watching this Blu-ray, a big eye-opener. This death is a goddamn all-timer, y'all. It's up there. There's no way around it. So now that the threat is truly destroyed, this time, the surviving crew members, we have Homie in the Wheelchair, Ron Perlman, Winona Ryder, and of course Ellen Ripley. The two men kiss. Thank you. They had some tension in the film, so I was like, all right, you know, why not? And our closing shot of this film is, you know, Ripley and Winona Ryder's character just staring at a destroyed Eiffel Tower. It's a really bleak and desolate land. I mean, you know, we sort of just fade away into this uncertain future that we're heading towards. So yeah, folks, that is Alien Resurrection. You know, growing up watching this after being such a huge Alien 1 fan, you know, watching this growing up, I did not like it. I would have put this behind Alien 3. But during this rewatch, while we're getting ready for Alien Romulus, I think I'm turning on this one completely. Now, this could be better than Alien 3. So if you haven't seen the 2003 assembly cut of Alien 3, I highly advise you seek that one out. It's got some horrible CGI and a lot of unfinished shit. It's still not perfect, but that is a better version of that film. With that being said, Alien Resurrection, I'm gonna go with a rating of stream it. Yes, after all the shit I've talked in this review, yes, after all that, it's a fun time. There's no way around it. Yeah, it's a disgrace to the series, but in a vacuum by itself, I had a good time while watching it. And there were other times when I wanted to just, destroy my copy because it's that bad. This is one of those cases where this one completely won me over. On the fuckery scale, which is exclusive to this series, The Shit Show, on that particular scale, it gets a rating of high class fuckery. Don't be mad, true Alien fans, okay? You want to discount my history with this franchise? Feel free, do it in the comments though. I'm truly excited for this next film. Of course, I want to go in with low expectations so that I'm not just loving everything for the sake of it. I think that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for stopping by TVH Studios. I've been The Bad Habits, aka TVH, and I'm signing out, y'all. Deuces.